We can't stay together. It's impossible. You just need to sign the divorce papers. Good luck on your own." The phone call abruptly ended, leaving me stunned. My lawyer, Jake, couldn't contain his laughter. Emily, puzzled, looked at Jake. Jake wiped his tears with a handkerchief and remarked, "The president is your wife, right? My name is Rose, and I've been married to John for 2 years. We're both busy with work and hardly have time to talk. Despite our hectic schedules, we try to plan holidays and enjoy overseas trips once a year. When we got married, we bought an upper-floor apartment in the Bay Area, aiming for future asset value. Thanks to this decision, we're content with our lives." Emily, my high school friend, who values high standards in men, often looks for potential partners on dating apps. During lunch at a cafe, Emily expressed her desire to visit my apartment. Over the weekend, she marveled at the spaciousness and luxury of my $6 million upper-floor penthouse. As Emily admired the place, she couldn't help but focus on the wealth and express admiration for John's financial success, leaving me suspicious of her motives. Emily asked if she could use the bathroom and left the living room. After telling her where it was, I started preparing tea in the kitchen. Concerned about her taking a long time, just as I was about to go to the bathroom, Emily returned. While having tea and eating cookies, she asked if she could stay until the evening to say hi to John, who she hadn't seen since our wedding. I checked with John, who agreed, mentioning he finished work early. I informed Emily, and as I began preparing dinner, she fiddled with her smartphone and headed to the bathroom again. Not realizing how long she had been gone, I noticed when she returned that she was wearing my necklace. Emily confessed she found it cute and expensive, admitting she peeked into the bedroom closet. She then requested to borrow the necklace, claiming she wanted to wear it when meeting a doctor from a dating app. Reluctantly, I agreed but emphasized its importance as a gift from John. Emily, seemingly unfazed, started caressing the necklace. Suspicious, I checked the bedroom and found evidence of her snooping through my belongings. Despite my admonishment, Emily brushed it off. When John arrived with a cake, they met for the first time since our wedding, and the evening turned lively with laughter and chatter. John had a wide grin, his eyes squinting as he chuckled. Though bothered by how casually Emily touched him, I figured it was better than them being distant. Looking back, I realized my naivety. About a month after Emily's visit, John's behavior changed. He spent more time on his smartphone, becoming distracted in our conversations. He even took the phone to the bathroom. I sensed I had become a cheated wife. Contemplating checking John's phone, I hesitated to touch it. Our home conversations decreased, and he started working excessively on weekends. We began sleeping in separate rooms under the pretext of fatigue. Vaguely considering divorce, I discovered divorce papers on the living room table. John had already signed them. Shaken, I called him to inquire. He coldly stated he wanted a divorce, revealing he had found someone he loved. Pressing for details, he insisted it wasn't an affair but a serious relationship. To my dismay, I heard Emily's voice confirming they were dating and contemplating marriage. Though suspected, hearing it confirmed quickened my heartbeat. John insisted there was nothing more to discuss and urged me to sign the divorce papers quickly. "I want to talk things over. Tell John to come back home," I suggested. "Yeah, that's impossible. We're living together. You just have to sign the divorce papers. Good luck going back to living in poverty," came the cold response. After the one-sided conversation ended, I stood dumbfounded for a while. Many sleepless nights followed, but John didn't come back home. I couldn't bring myself to touch the divorce papers left on the living room table. They just sat there untouched. To add to the pain, Emily sent several photos flaunting her relationship with John. Their closeness was clear, but the question lingered. Why were they treating me like this? My mental health deteriorated, and I looked pale and vacant during the day. Concerned friends suggested therapy, and though somewhat reluctant, I went. Medication helped me regain some peace, and my sleep improved. However, an unbelievable incident occurred when I returned home from the hospital. Something was off inside the room. And upon checking the bedroom closet, bags and jewelry were missing. The count of jewelry and watches in the chest was off too. There was only one person who could do this. Why would she go this far? What had I ever done to deserve this? Insomnia returned, and my days were spent in a dazed and sleepless state. During counseling, I mentioned the theft at home, and the therapist strongly advised me to consult a lawyer. Contacting the company's lawyer, Jake, I arranged a meeting. The first thing Jake asked was, "What would you like to do?" I responded immediately, "I'll get a divorce. I want those two to face proper consequences." It surprised me how easily it came out, but perhaps deep down, I didn't want to fight back after being tormented so one-sidedly. A week later, I received a call from Emily after sending her a certified mail. She was angry, but I hung up, ignoring all her subsequent calls. I then received a call from John, who revealed that the affair had caused a huge uproar at his home after I sent a certified mail to his parents' home. I resisted the urge to laugh at his self-inflicted troubles. Unhappy with just leaving it to Jake, I decided to confront them directly. A meeting was arranged at Jake's office a few days later, and they reluctantly showed up alone. Emily burst through the office door, followed by John, looking uncomfortable. Finally, face to face, Emily expressed her indignation, not bothering to hide it. John attempted to stop her, citing the delays in their wedding due to my actions. Emily seemed ready to throw her bag at me, and John struggled to hold her back. Jake intervened, cautioning against violence or abusive language, and mentioning police notification. With Jake's intervention, Emily and John calmed down, taking their seats across the office table. The discussion began, confirming John's pursuit of a divorce. Despite agreeing to the divorce, I mentioned claiming damages due to the affair. John's face clouded, and he agreed, emphasizing that I shouldn't contact them afterward. Emily, displeased, expressed her arrogance, expecting more resistance. As Jake discussed the alimony amount, Emily snapped, stating any amount was fine since they had more money than they knew what to do with. Jake, intrigued, mentioned John's position as the president of a jewelry company with an annual turnover of $67 million. John, flustered, tried to restrain Emily, who, excited, continued talking. Emily offered a fair share of the property, mocking John's salary as barely enough to live on. Jake burst out laughing, leaving Emily puzzled. Jake wiped his tears with a handkerchief, revealing, "The president is actually this lady right here." Emily, unable to comprehend, gaped open-mouthed, and John, hanging his head, trembled slightly. "Jane is just an employee without any title at the company. I am Rose's company's legal counsel," Jake explained. Hearing this, Emily burst into laughter, questioning Jake's identity as a lawyer. Jake calmly suggested asking John himself about the truth. John, biting his lip and looking down, faced Emily's scrutiny. Feeling uneasy, Emily grabbed John's arms and shook him, demanding answers. Jen whispered, "I'm sorry," in a faint, hoarse voice, confirming the revelation. The room fell into deep silence. Emily's grip on John's arms tightened, and she repeated her question in desperation. As John confirmed the truth, Emily's hands fell limply. She accused me, pointing and questioning why she didn't know about this. I clarified that not everything is shared, especially with someone obsessed with money. Looking straight at Emily, I asserted my ownership of the house, leaving her silent and John in despair. Emily slumped down, and John kept his head in his hands. Jake began disclosing the evidence, starting with photos of John and Emily together, the ones Emily had sent to my phone. Jake then placed an IC recorder on the table and played the recorded conversation, revealing Emily's perplexing actions. "I was just sharing a bit of our happiness with you." Emily's voice played, and John seemed to be holding back tears. I cut in, expressing my desire for a quick divorce, aware that Emily was clinging to John for his income as the president of a jewelry company with a $67.6 million turnover. I accused her of hitting it off with John for his wealth, and Emily, embarrassed, covered her face, urging for a speedy divorce. She claimed the tower man would soon be hers, regretting Jan's absence. Emily offered alimony generously, mocking my supposed aim for John's money. John, deceived by her words, looked down, tears staining his pants. Emily and Jan fell silent, thinking it was the end. However, Jake had more to reveal. He accused Emily of entering the house when I was absent and stealing various items. John, surprised, had no knowledge of this. Emily denied it, but Jake played a video on an iPad, showing her sneaking into the bedroom and taking bags, jewelry, and expensive items. Emily, wide-eyed, questioned the invasion of privacy, while John covered his face in despair. As the argument escalated, Jake and I were dumbfounded. Jake declared that a police report would be filed for the theft. Emily panicked at the mention of the police, attempting to negotiate compensation. However, I insisted on filing a report, revealing her disrespectful use of my keys without permission. Emily resignedly kneeled and apologized, promising compensation. I coldly reminded her that the stolen items were worth more than her annual salary, and that didn't even include the damages. Emily was left speechless as the reality of the consequences sank in. Emily turned to John, pleading with tears in her voice, "Hey, you'll pay for me, right? Even if you're not a president, you make money." Jane nodded silently, but I intervened, revealing that he was about to be fired. John, shocked, turned his face towards me. Indeed, John hadn't been to work since leaving the house, and complaints from his superiors added to the commotion. John, looking distressed, inquired about property division, but I explained that a prenuptial agreement with Rose prevented him from claiming assets. I looked at John with disdain, and Jake placed the prenuptial agreement on the table. It stated that if the marriage lasted less than 3 years, neither party could claim assets from the other. Emily tried to grab and tear up the document, but it was a notarized deed, making tampering a potential crime. John, resentful, had no savings and had debts from less reputable sources. Emily, defeated, slumped her shoulders. The divorce was finalized without issue, and John's belongings were sent back to his parents' home. His parents apologized, and Emily faced police investigation for illegal entry and theft. Admitting to her crimes, Emily suggested a suspended sentence. However, her history of stealing from men through dating apps led to a likely prison sentence. John, unable to live in Emily's apartment, moved to an old apartment in the suburbs. Struggling to find work due to his unexplained absence and poor work attitude, he relied on day labor to get by. I received regular updates about their situations from Jake. After the divorce, I focused on work and started expanding our company's jewelry distribution to Europe. During a long vacation in Europe, I discussed jewelry design with a French shop owner, who agreed to display our jewelry in his shop. The owner, understanding the pain of divorce, became a supportive friend. Despite the challenges, I found solace and even mixed a bit of business with pleasure. After all, I believe I deserved this perk after everything I had been through.